One of the defining characteristics of Jesus is that Jesus was for everyone. In a culture in which certain groups of people were openly viewed as less than others, when we read the scriptures, it sometimes appears as if Jesus is mostly for those who have it harder than others. Children, women, the diseased, the lame, the Samaritans. But when we look deeper, we don't see Jesus being for these people and against those who have it easier. We see Jesus being for everyone. In fact, one of the things that makes the stories of Jesus so powerful was that when he interacted with people in conflict or in situations in which it seemed as if he was going to have to choose one over the other, he remained for everyone. In Luke chapter 8, when a local synagogue leader comes to Jesus concerned about his dying daughter, Jesus was delayed by a woman who had been bleeding for years. Now, Jesus doesn't tell the religious leader that his family members, they're not as important as the need that this bleeding woman has. But Jesus also doesn't tell this woman, hey, I'm sorry, but you're only bleeding. This girl is dying. Jesus was both for the dying girl and also for the bleeding woman. And in the end, Jesus took care of both of them. The call of Jesus has always been to be for everyone, just as Jesus is for everyone. This past week, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned a decision from 1973 removing what was then declared by the court to be a woman's right to choose whether or not to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. This is a topic in which very few in our nation don't have an opinion, but one in which many followers of Jesus are unsure of what is right and what is wrong. As with almost any ethical question in our world, there are countless variations on the question, well, what would be the right thing to do if this were the case? And those hypothetical scenarios that, unfortunately, for so many aren't hypothetical, they're real life. Those scenarios range from instances of sexual assault, to instances of incest, to instances where medical complications create a scenario where the baby perishes before exiting the womb and puts the mother's life in danger. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't strong biblical mandates about the ethics of any of these situations, because there are. In fact, God has a lot to say about mothers and about childbearing and about children both in and outside the womb, and a lot to say about those who would do any of those parties harm. However, I will say that an online video is not the right place to discuss those details, particularly with how emotionally heavy this topic is for so many people. If you're interested in what the scriptures have to say about this topic or anything else, feel free to reach out to myself or Pastor Dan. We would be happy to get together and talk through any questions that you might have. What I will say is that tragically, people throughout our nation, even those claiming the name and purposes of Jesus, are finding it far too easy to make this a question of, well, who needs to be protected against whom? Is it women that need to be protected against what other people think is best for the babies growing inside of them? Or is it the babies that need to be protected against the evil mothers who want to destroy them? Seeing what's going on in either of those ways is a mistake that a lot of people are making right now. If we're going to take Jesus seriously in the midst of all of this, then our question has to become, how can we be for mothers in terrible situations and at the same time be for the children growing in their wombs? How can we be for those who see themselves primarily as advocates for the children and at the same time be for those who see themselves as advocates for the mothers? How can we be for those public leaders who are fighting for the rights of the women and at the same time be for those leaders fighting for the rights of children? if it ever becomes an either or, we've lost. However, Jesus walked this line so well that the only people who ever claimed that Jesus was against them were those that had a personal stake in dividing God's people into them and us. Just like Jesus did, our way forward in this topic, and let's be honest, in just about every hot topic within our culture, our way forward has to be to walk the line that Jesus walked, to walk the line of being for everyone.